Jaylen Brown, it's not so much that he's underrated, it's that he's just not liked because of his quote, "I am better than you" attitude. He knows it. It's the same reason he is not as marketable as he should be. That's what an NBA source just sent me. I don't know that to be the case. I like Jaylen Brown. I know a lot of people that like Jaylen Brown.
And I know you see the shirt.
That's right. State your source. State your source.
Yes.
Oh, we're gonna get into all of that.
For sure.
No question.
And honestly, I wore this shirt, because like this is where I wanted to start the conversation.
Okay.
Get into it. And to be honest,
Pull the mic closer to you, so I want to make sure the audience hears you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think it's deeper than rap. I think it's bigger than both you and I. Like obviously, your credentials are through the roof. Covering AI to First Take being the #1 show, and now taking the world by storm with your new podcast. So I wore this shirt, but I honestly, I know just because of your credentials that you're never gonna reveal the sources, because you abide by something called journalistic integrity.
Right.
But hear me out.
Sure.
A couple months back, on your platform, you recited an unnamed source who I feel like attacked my character.
That was what we played on a cold open, by the way. Sure.
And one, I didn't really get a chance to defend myself, and two, the damage kind of already is done. And I think journalistic integrity goes two ways.
Yes, sir.
So for me, I think a lot of people were upset, and as was I, because I understand journalistic integrity, and I understand how that works, but I also understand the idea of normal integrity as well, and I also want to maintain and protect that.
Sure.
So to start off, I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
And profession aside, as a #1 reporter with the biggest platform,
yes, sir,
in the world, I hold you accountable.
Please
do. Is there ever any dissension from what you report on as a man? I mean, what you report on as a reporter, and then what you stand for as an individual? Like when you go home, is there ever any dissension in the decisions that you make?
Well, for the most part, no, because I find myself to be humane and fair. But in the same breath, when we take this example, let me use this example that you're talking about, but what I said was text to me about you, and by the way, others had said it as well. I wasn't talking about how I feel. You and I have been cool for years. You've always been good to me. What I was trying to say was, this brother is great. He's great on the basketball court. He's great off the basketball court. He's an individual of very high integrity, highly educated, whom most people that you encounter considers you nothing short of brilliant. And yet, these opportunities that clearly you are deserving of and should be afforded to you was not. And so when I brought that up, I literally get a text in the middle of the show. And immediately after the show, I got 3 separate phone calls. And they were like, yo, this guy is not liked by some of the powers that be because he's smart, because...
Hold on. He about to break it down. What he's telling you, these are the things that you have to be in order to attain some type of status. And Jaylen Brown he's these things, but they want you to be the opposite. So I'm going to take it back a little bit. He's going to go fast and try to keep up.
And immediately after the show, I got 3 separate phone calls. And they were like, yo, this guy is not liked by some of the powers that be.
And so the powers that be means he signed a $300 million contract, just his NBA contract. Now, he's not really gaining ground for the outside endorsements as a player of his caliber. As you can see, his shoes, these are his shoes. These aren't Nikes or Adidas or anything else. he decided to go with his own shoes because he, for whatever reason, I'm not gonna say couldn't have a deal because I don't know the ins and outs of that. But yeah, let's let Ballhead continue.
Because he's smart.
Smart. You can't be smart in order to get these deals.
Because he's outspoken.
You can't be outspoken in order to get these deals.
Because he's principled and he's defiant and he's not easily manipulated. These are.
Ooh, and he's just saying it like, ooh, he's principled. He's defiant. What? And what was the last thing he said? Hold on. This is important. Because this, basically what Stephen A. Smith is doing is telling you the things you have to not be to get these big money deals and go. You can be a star, but to be a superstar, these are things that you have to not be. All right, let's see.
Outspoken. Because he's principled and he's defiant and.
Because he's principled, because he's defiant, and.
He's not easily manipulated.
Who? Cat Williams said it's the year of truth. All truth should be revealed. And he's not easily manipulated. He's just telling you all the things. So in order to get to a certain status, you have to be easily manipulated. And you can't be defiant. And you can't be articulate. And you can't be smart in order to get these bigger deals. Besides, I'm surprised he even got the $300 million NBA contract.
These are things that are costing him. I didn't look at it as something that was smearing your character. I looked at it as individuals basically pointing out that you're not liked. And I completely understand why folks who are in positions of power and decision-making positions, you wouldn't like somebody because they usually don't like folks that are principled.
I agree.
And whilst this is so obvious, while Stephen A. Smith is explaining this to Jaylen Brown, he's telling you all the things that he's not. Stephen A. Smith is basically saying, in which we all knew this if you've been watching any other stuff for any period of time, Stephen A. Smith telling you he's not principled. He's just gonna do whatever the powers that be tell him. He's even told you that. He put out a tweet. Saying he just want to make his boss the most money and he want a piece of it. That's just, boss, I'll do whatever you say. I ain't never called nobody no boss. And I never will. And I'm just a normal person working a normal 9 to 5. If I call you boss, that means you have some type of power or something over me. And that if you're a small-minded person, that might make you feel demented. Man, get out of here.
Agree.
Sure.
And I wasn't holding you accountable for anything that you said.
Right.
It was that your platform is so large. You have the #1 platform in the world. First Take, your podcast now. What I was asking was, is there a dissension about what you report on, and also how you carry yourself as an individual and as a man? Like, how do you differentiate the two? But to be honest, I'm gonna come clean.
Sure.
Like, I wanted to have this conversation, but honestly, I couldn't wait to address this unnamed source.
Right.
I know they probably will.
And Jaylen Brown, this brother, he's being very calculated, and I can see why he's doing it, because there's some stuff he want to say. He's being very calculated, and actually he's kind of dancing around what he really want to say, but I halfway understand it. So let's continue to see what he got to say. But back to what we was talking about a minute ago, Stephen A. Smith was telling you everything that he's not. He's not principled. He's not very articulate. Oh, he has a vocabulary of a few big words, but he's not very articulate. He's willing to do whatever he's told. And he has demonstrated that over, minimum 30 years he has demonstrated that.
We'll be watching this because people like that are always watching. And I wanted to let them know that I had a great summer. Like, just as simple as that. Like, I traveled the world. I went to Umrah. I won 2 MVPs. I, launched Black Wall Street in Oakland and made a music video. I had a blast.
Right.
So I wanted to let them know that I had a great summer. I really wanted to address them directly, but I feel like since this all kind of happened on your platform, I want to send a message to you, to them.
Right.
Because you only the person that knows who the source is. And I basically wanted to say to them that I think it's cowardice.
Jalen Smith said, because you're a person who only know who the source is, which means puppet strings. Puppet strings. Stephen A. Smith, they telling you what to do. So, you know what? You've been doing this for all these years. I'm going to be nice and not even hold you accountable. I'm going to see if I can address them and see if it'll get through.
I think historically, unnamed sources have attacked some of our greats. And we are not responsible for what they lack in design. Frankly, they can call all their buddies, they pals and friends from all over the world, all the unnamed sources, and they can shove it where they got it from. Whether they think I'm marketable or not, I walk with God.
Did you hear what he said? Jaylen Brown being nice, he said they can shove it where they got it from. You know what he's saying? Fuck you, unnamed sources. And at the same time, when he's saying that, he's saying fuck you, Stephen A. Smith, for bringing up these things. Put your name to it. Put your name to it, which is basically what he's saying. Because if you don't put your name to it, then it's false. It's just made up. It's just to push a narrative. And that's what Jaylen Brown is saying. Ooh, nice way to put it, bro. You so polite. Too polite, but I do understand.
I'm going to be me and stand with my community in this life and the next, and that's my journalistic integrity.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
I wanted to get that off my chest.
Sure.
And now we can start the interview.
You can get it all off your chest. I'm not going away because I got to tell you something. I don't understand why somebody saying what others may feel about you to hold you back, and they know that you've done nothing to deserve it. I don't understand how that's cowardice for them to talk about what somebody else is feeling. Like, for example, I'm looking at you and I think about Bill Russell, how principled he was. I think about Muhammad Ali, how principled he was. I think about Curt Flood.
Hold on. Stephen A. Smith, did you even think about asking him? Because he don't get all this extra endorsement and actually being the best player in the league in the NBA at this point, being held off the Olympic team. Why don't you ask him how he feels about those type of things, as opposed to assuming getting these endorsements will grant you more money, being on the Olympic team will grant you more money. All your thoughts are driven by money. And there's a lot of people that are not driven by money. Money is not the most important thing. Money is a tool. Okay, it's great to have it. Of course, let's not BS. But a lot of us, that's not what motivates us. We're fine. We're fine. I don't have 300 million. I don't have 100 million. I don't have 50. I don't have 20. But we good over here. You have 300 plus like he does. Why is it all your conversation? No, Stephen A. Smith, the way you live is driven by more money, more money, more money. And that's why the way you are, you have no integrity.
Kirk Flood, who was the father, of free agency. When you think about what he did in Major League Baseball, I think about Jackie Robinson integrating the sport of baseball. I think about so many highly educated, highly accomplished, highly principled individual. The word likability is not something that you would attach to them when it came to Madison Avenue and marketability and promotion. So somebody saying this guy is not liked because of that reason, that's not them insulting you. That's not them calling you out. It's them saying the world that we're living in,
it's a compliment,
you're not
in my
somebody
opinion.
that's easy to control. You're somebody, you stand on your own. And
Hold on. Oh my goodness. Move my hair out the way. Wait. Going back. This interview is amazing and it reveals a lot. This is one word. It's one word put in a sentence. Hold on.
because of that reason. That's not them insulting you. That's not them calling you out. It's them saying the world that we're living in, you're not somebody that's easy to control.
You're not one that's easy to control because they control me. That's what Stephen A. Smith is saying. They control me. This is projection at its finest.
You're somebody, you stand on your own, and you're your own man.
For sure.
Oh. And so what's wrong with that? You stand on your own, and you're your own man. Well, isn't that what all men should be? That's just what I thought. So why would that even need to be spoken? That is crazy. Upside down world at this point.
What's the problem with that?
It's a balance, because it's one, you can critique someone's performance.
Okay.
But then also if you're attacking their character. Like, they didn't just say that I wasn't liked. They said I wasn't marketable. They said I was arrogant. I carried myself with a certain demeanor. Mm-hmm. And that line gets crossed between critiquing someone's performance, not liking them for whatever reason, and then attacking someone's character. I think journalistic integrity requires it to go both ways. I never had a chance to respond or defend myself. One, because they're never gonna reveal themselves, and two, the damage is already done. So what I'm speaking to is the unnamed sources. Like, I can.
Yeah, he wants you to name those unnamed sources, and I think it's because Stephen A., you don't have no unnamed sources. He thinking the unnamed sources is you, Stephen A. Smith. That's why he has stuck to the unnamed sources so much in this interview. So I don't know if you want to go watch the rest of this nonsense. It's on this is actually the Stephen A. Smith show. You can probably find it there, but I found it on NBA on ESPN. So this interview was amazing. It told you a lot about how, especially black men, because I mean that's the group that I'm in, and that's what I care about, and that's what I see, that's what I most identify with, although I'm not in any groups. But this is what they do to them. This is what they do to your Ricky Smileys and Roland Martins and D.L. Hughley's and Steve Harvey's, and they do all this type of stuff to them. You can't be articulate. You can't be your own man. You can't want to own your own thing by yourself. No, you can't do that.